Hello everyone and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host Shannon. Today we have another really exciting episode for you guys. We're going to actually be mixing and matching quite a few products today. So I'm going to show you some things that are makeup related and some things that are skincare related. And I actually have a tub with me today, so we're going to be testing some of these products out. Before we go ahead and get started with the video, I just wanted to give a shout out to all you guys in the comments. Hello Shay, Nathan, Khalid, and Marvin. Welcome back to the chat. And if it's your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate the support. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I did want to just structure this episode today a little bit differently. I want to actually open it up for a little bit more Q&A. So if there's any questions that you guys have about Korea, Koreanet, maybe some different show content, I'd love to hear it, and then we can chat a little bit. So to kick things off, like I said, we're going to be starting with makeup and skincare. So I think what I'm going to do is start with the makeup product first. I'm going to be testing these out on my hand, not my face today. But using these makeup products, we're actually going to kind of demonstrate different strategies for that. And then we're going to go into cleansing it and removing it. All right, so let's just open it up. So we have a very typical compact or a cushion. This is very common in Korea. This is kind of the standard or go-to when it comes to Korean foundation. I'm actually wearing a compact right now. Actually, it's not this particular one, but they are very common. Let me just open this up. Okay, so there's always a safety seal on the actual products. All right. This actually prevents you from getting, oh, what is this? I've never seen this before. Look at this. That is so cool. I like that. Okay, super cool. So not exactly what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting like when you open it up and there's like a little cushion. This one actually looks like it's a twisting motion, and then it kind of deposits the product like this. That's probably a lot of product, but let's just give it a go. I immediately like this concept because I feel like it's a little bit more hygienic. It's a little bit more, oh, it's like mousse. I don't know if you guys can see that texture there. So it's a little bit more clean. That way you don't sort of put a dirty pad back into the actual product. We're just going to go ahead and tap that on and see kind of what that finish looks like. Okay, so right away, just texture-wise, it does feel a little bit more moussey, a little bit more glossy, but the coverage is fantastic. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It doesn't feel stodgy or cakey. So for my girlies out there that like a full coverage foundation, this might be a better option for you. So I don't know if you guys can see that finish. I'm going to try to show you guys a little bit. So there's a couple different types of finish that you're going to go for when you're looking for a cushion product. Some of them will be more glowy or more dewy. Some of them will be more mattified. This particular one is actually a little bit more kind of neutral, I would say, which I actually really like. So for me, this is definitely something I would gravitate towards. It's a little bit more medium to heavy coverage or full coverage, but at the same time, it's actually a lot of a natural sheen. Doesn't really look like a stodgy or a sticky one, which is actually quite nice. Let's see, today we're diving into quirky Korean beauty items. Yeah, for sure. I've definitely never seen this before. That definitely took me by surprise. Freshly ground compact and classic cushion. What is your pick? I've actually never tried this before, but after giving it a go, I definitely want to try it again. So I'm just going to apply a little bit more, only because we are going to be removing some of the products later. So I want you guys to be able to get a good visual on that. All right. There we go. So that is all done. That is our first product for today. So this is kind of like, let's see what the description is. Grinding Serum Cover Pact. Nice. That's super cool. I actually really, really like that. Like I said, I think this would be a little bit more cleaner to work with, a little bit easier, no risk of mess or kind of the product slipping around, and no risk of contamination as well. So if you have like not a clean face, for example, and then you put the pad back into the product, you've then contaminated the product. So now this kind of saves you from that. Another good thing I wanted to point out, in typical Korean makeup fashion, I don't know if you guys can see this, it's super tiny font, but this is actually a makeup product that has sunscreen in it, and this is very common. This particular one is SPF 50, and it's PA+4. I know that I've talked about this with you guys before, but when it comes to the PA+ rating, that's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. The PA+ actually represents the lifespan of the sunscreen. So after a certain point, typically your sunscreen will lose its power and it won't be able to protect you from the UV rays anymore. But if the PA+ rating is around 4 or 5, typically you'll get a good like 3 to 4 hours out of it, maybe 5 if you use a decent amount of product. But it's nice to know that your makeup is also going to protect your skin, so that's great. All right, up next we have these. These are super funky looking. So this is something that you actually might recognize. So let me just do a comparison here. So this is the standard. This is a little compact that typically comes with the makeup products. And this is the one that we have today. So as you guys can see, this is a reusable one or kind of a disposable one. These actually come in different shapes and sizes, and that's not just because it's cute. It's actually for a purpose. These bigger, rounder ones are typically going to be closer to your foundation type of cushion. And then these are typically for like under eye concealer or blush. These are where you're getting into like the little corners. So especially around the nose, the mouth, and then the under eyes as well. So I like this. It gives you a lot of variety. Texture wise, this is going to be really hard for me to show you guys. I don't know if you guys can see the texture on this one. It is soft. It actually seems like very microfiber base. It is quite nice. The density as well is a little bit thicker, which is fine. This is supposed to last you a little bit longer. These are a lot softer. Let me just break one out so you guys can see. There we go. So right away, that is like a baby's butt. That is super, super soft and like silky. Its microfibers are even more closely knit, which is so nice because typically when you're going for a cushion type, think about it like a kitchen sponge versus something microfiber. If a kitchen sponge has really large holes, typically the makeup is going to kind of absorb into the sponge more than deposit on your face. With something like this, where it's a little bit more slick on the top, it's actually not going to absorb the product as much. That means that you get more bang for your buck. So this is super cool. I've actually never seen these little disposable pads before. But let's do this on the other hand and just see if there's any sort of application difference. All right, the design is so pretty. Where can I buy this? Olive Young. You know it, guys. Olive Young products are the best, especially when it comes to KBeauty. So let me just get some more product out. Oh, this is so cool. Sorry. This is so super cute. I like this. I'm definitely going to like try to keep it. I just noticed as well, this is going to be so hard for me to explain to you guys. All right, zoom in. Can you do a zoom? Look right there. Do you see where it's two-tone? It's half pink and then it's half kind of a beige color. This is really nice because this is actually kind of a color match product, which means even if it's not your exact tone, it is likely to sort of blend and absorb into your skin nicely. Just sort of a nice little detail that I just now noticed. It's my first time seeing a grinding right one. Yes, me too. So here's my hand before. Let's check out how the new pad does. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see that color split a little bit, but we're going to mix it together. Of course, we don't want to have, it's kind of hard to hold my hand. But it's kind of hard to blend, so let's just see. All right. So right away, I will say that the product I think is doing a lot of the work because the product is laying really nicely on both hands. This one does feel like it's actually moving the product around a little bit easier. It's not absorbing quite as much. So just so you guys can see the difference, I think that about does it. So that's after. So this is the original compact. This is the new one. Do you guys see a difference? I don't really see a difference, but they both work really nice. I would say as far as like convenience and cleanliness goes, these are actually really nice because they're just throwaway, which is kind of another thing that is, I'm noticing a pattern in today's episode. It seems like it's hygienic, like Olive Young or cosmetic products. So super cool. All right, now I have 2 hands full of foundation, so we need a way to get it off. So I'm going to move these guys to the side, and before we get started, I'm going to be showing you guys probably one of the cutest products, and I actually have a headband version of this, but we're going to be using these little wristbands today. So one thing that I think a lot of us, especially my girlies who do their skincare like over the sink and not in the shower, this is going to save you from all that water running down your arms or like getting all over you. So when you splash your face, it actually doesn't run. I actually do have a bucket of water here, so we are going to be demonstrating that. And to save my shirt, we're going to be using our little cuffs. So you guys can definitely check these out. I see these a lot in Olive Young as like a package deal. So it's usually like a headband and 2 of these. So yeah, super soft, very cute. I like it, easy to put on. So enough said there. Now we're going to be using something to remove makeup. This is a very sort of synonymous product with our surprise cushion foundation here, which is a grinding serum cover fit. This is a grinding cleansing balm. So this one as well is going to actually have that sort of grinding element. You guys can see it right there. So let's check it out. Let's see how it works. Is that slow enough to be satisfying? There you go. So you guys can see the product. Like I said, I think the biggest advantage with these sort of grinding products is that they're actually very clean, because now I'm not dipping my dirty hands into any sort of product and contaminating everything inside. This sort of keeps everything nice and clean. This particular one is a Pore Refresh Cleansing Balm. So even though we're going to be doing it on my hand, I will be trying to describe as best as I can the sort of texture, how it's feeling. And for those of you guys that don't know, cleansing balm is actually a gentler way to sort of do a oil cleanse, specifically for breaking down sunscreen or makeup. This is something that you definitely want to add to your routine. The oil particles are essentially going to help to liquefy or emulsify some of the makeup products that are typically oil-based as well. And this attaches to the sebum in your pores to help move everything out. So this is another way to get that super deep cleanse. So without further ado, let's just go ahead. I'm just going to swipe a little bit. Okay, I have like a nice little bud of the oil. So it's kind of like a coconut oil situation. It's solid, but the second it starts to come in contact with the heat from your hands or from your face, it's going to start to melt. So right away, you guys can see that it's starting to turn beige, which is the same color as the foundation. So it's really, really quickly breaking all of that down. Let me see if I can get a couple questions while I'm doing this. The bubble is pretty. I can only think of this in Korea. It's very satisfying. The grinding balm new world, definitely. Thank you for your explanation. You're welcome. Ask more questions and I'm happy to explain. I think I might need a little bit more. I feel like I've got some makeup kind of around the perimeter here. So I'm just gonna, I should have tested on this before. I'm just gonna rinse it off and let's just see what happens. So just so you guys know, when it comes to oil cleansing or even for an oil balm, a phenomenon that you might notice is actually that it turns white. So I don't know if you guys can see the drops of the water are actually turning white. This is a good thing. This is called emulsification. This is how you actually extract the oil from the skin. So I'm just going to keep rinsing and see if the rest of that comes off. Okay, I still got a little bit of makeup kind of around my knuckles, but I think we've pretty much done the job. So now I will compare with you my hand that has makeup and my hand that doesn't. This is my clean hand. You can see it looks nice and soft, nice and hydrated. This is my makeup hand, which is probably a little bit wet as well, but there you go. You guys can see that difference. So right away, it feels really, really clean. I think it looks very smooth. So I actually like the sort of calming and soothing benefit of this one. And it does have jojoba oil or jojoba oil, which is one of my favorite hydrating products. So not only is it going to help to extract any makeup from the skin, but it's also going to give you back some of that life and some of that love from hydration. So 10 out of 10. I like this one. This is great. All right, let's see. I'm curious about the usage. Bubble toner sounds like ASMR. I can definitely do that a little bit for you. Who thought of these items? This is genius. I know, right? This is super cool. I've actually heard of this one before, but this was a total surprise for me, so that's super cool. Ready to open your wallet again today. I know. Olive Young and I have a very toxic relationship because I go in there and always spend more than I plan on spending. But let's continue. We've got two more really cool things to show you guys. So I know you guys are excited about the bubble toner. Let's just go ahead and give it a shot. These are some very key words that you've probably heard me mention before. This is hyaluron cica or hyaluronic acid and cica centella. These are very, very important, especially if you have sensitive skin or for dry skin. So if you're anything like me and you get super dry, even in the summertime I get dry, this is going to be something that you definitely want to have included in your routine, whether it's this particular product or another one. Hyaluronic acid is one of the best things that you can do for your skin, and then cica centella is for my sensitive girlies out there. This is very practical. I want to buy it. It's like beauty item only available in Korea. Actually, no, we are not affiliated with the brand, but if you guys do want to get these back home, just check out the Olive Young Global website. They do actually ship worldwide, so there is the possibility you can get some of these as well. Let's go ahead and try it. I'm going to do some ASMR as requested, so let's just see how this goes. Did it work? I have no idea if that worked or not. But now we have a copious amount of foaming toner. It's very cute. Okay, this is way too much. Okay, hold on. Okay, so noted, you don't need a lot of this. I think just a little bit is fine. But it's a toner, I would say. It feels very thin and very lightweight. When it comes to toners, you want it to absorb really, really quickly. You don't want this to be something that kind of sits for a long time. The point of toner is to actually hydrate kind of in the first steps of skincare, and I'm going to give this a minute to absorb, but it should look very glossy right away. Okay, I put way too much. Just for reference, this should not be this wet, but I did put way too much. But anyway, it's very cooling and soothing, lightweight. Ooh, I was gonna say it doesn't have a fragrance, but it kind of does. It smells like clean. I don't know how to explain it. It just smells very clean and aqua-y. So yes, that is the toner. So just to kind of reiterate what toners actually do, I think that this is kind of the most missed out on Korean beauty product, or even just products in general. But usually with Korean products, they are more hydrating, soothing rather than alcohol based or witch hazel based. They do make a difference, so make sure you keep that in mind. But toners, when we're thinking about your pore, if you look at it in 3D, it actually goes through several different layers of skin tissue. The toners are the very thin, low viscosity, sort of hydrating elements that are going to help to sink and absorb really deeply. This is going to help to sort of advocate for that long-lasting moisturizing-ness or hydration in the skin. So definitely grab yourself one of these if you're dry like me, or if you're combination. This will help to balance out oil production a lot. So right away, I'm just gonna fan this dry. It is cooling down very, very well. It's really nice and hydrating and very soothing. So I still have a bunch of makeup on this hand. Maybe we can wipe them off with this one. So last product, this is the double pad, calming double pad right here. So the double pad, in my favorite Korean fashion, comes with a nice little grabber here. So you guys can make sure that it's clean as well. I gotta say, I kind of like the fact that there's an emphasis on how to keep everything hygienic and how to keep everything really clean. Even with this, it's actually to keep you from contaminating the rest of the products. So now I gotta figure out how to open it. Okay, turn left, turn left to open. Okay, turn left. Oh, okay, there it goes. And then open here. Make these things childproof. Okay. I'll get it one day, guys. I promise. Oh, wait, I can see there's a little film that's stuck right here. Got it. You guys can't see, but the cameraman was coming from behind to help me just now. But we're good. We're good. We did it. Okay, so let me put the pretty packaging back together. I think we got it. There we go. Okay. So here we go. These are our double pads. These are, I think, for cooling and calming as well. I don't know how well you guys can see that. If you guys can, try to zoom. There's a large one right here on the right side, and then these two right here, a little bit smaller and thinner. So one thing I personally have had a problem with when it comes to toner pads is that they're round and they only fit like on the cheeks unless you cut them. I think this is the purpose of solving that particular problem, and I'll show you why. When you're using the rounder toner pads, you can use them other areas, but it's just not, it's not easy. It takes a little bit more work. So if we pull the whole thing out here, can you see those little partitions? There's actually 3 pads in one here. So these thinner ones is actually what I would use kind of around the nose area to kind of sink into the pores a little bit better. So I really like this one. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, if we're going to use it in a place that has a lot of creases, for example, these thinner ones are actually going to sit a little bit better. If I try to use a really thick product, it's kind of just going to lay there, right? Which is fine. This covers a large surface area. I actually like that it's square. Right away, this kind of like adheres to the skin really nicely, which is super cool. Like you can see, like it's not even, whoa, okay, hold on. It's not really going anywhere. This one is really nice because it's actually quite spongy. There is no way that you guys can see that, but the texture is actually very fluffy. It's really nice. It's super soft. It definitely feels a little bit more thick and heavy duty and more durable than a typical toner pad. But toner pads essentially are going to have the similar function to toner. The only difference is that they maintain hydration by literally locking it and sticking it onto your skin. So for me, toner pads definitely come in handy, especially because during the winter months, I get super dry. This doesn't have to be just a special sort of nighttime mask situation. It can be something that you use daily. When you're using toner pads, just be careful not to scrub super hard. But other than that, these are great. I actually really like this because I can see myself using this like across the nose area or underneath my eyes. Definitely a really cool product. I like the take on just changing the packaging a little bit to make it more convenient. So overall for today's, I've actually liked every single product that we've used so far. I think my favorite, I gotta go with the cleansing balm on this one because I know personally that these are amazing. These really break down makeup really well. They're also really hydrating. This particular one I think was viral on TikTok not too long ago. But yes, really, really great product. This is a new take on a product that I already love. So I love that this is more comfortable. This sounds fun, and this, it was really fun. I think I just used too much and I kind of spoiled the experience for myself. But definitely hydrating, definitely very soothing and calming. And this was a big surprise. I actually really, really like this idea. I feel like as well the makeup won't go bad as easily or won't get oxidized because it's not as exposed to the air. So really, really good on this brand for, giving that a shot. I like this idea a lot. So I really hope that more brands come out with something like this. Let's see. Great work, staff. Cheer up. Anyone here with sensitive skin? Yes, me for sure. I am sensitive to everything, especially vitamin C, actually. So like vitamin C serums, for example, don't even work for me. But don't worry, there's alternatives if you're sensitive. You can use things like niacinamide, you can use glutathione, all kinds of stuff. So I'll get into all of that and ingredients and stuff later. Let's see. Sister, you good? Thank you so much. I'm curious about the usage. Wow, wow, wow. This idea is awesome. I think this will be popular overseas too. Yeah, I can definitely see this becoming a trend a little bit later. So hopefully this does spread to the rest of the globe and keeps K-Beauty on top. I'm definitely a big fan, needless to say. I've been here for 5 years and I've never gotten tired of it. I will never go back to Western skincare. I live and breathe K-Beauty, so definitely a big fan over here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I saw a lot of new names and new faces, so shout out to all of you guys. Sophia, Fight News, Amy, Sebastian, Hader, Kiera, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love your support. We really appreciate you guys being here and interacting with me in the chat. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or if there's anything you'd like to see on the program, make sure to drop it in the link down below and I will do my best to read everything. Before you guys go, make sure you hit like, comment again if you haven't already, and then subscribe as well to the channel. And we will see you guys next week at 6 p.m. Mwah. Bye. I just realized I still have these on. Okay, bye.